It's here. Chainsaw Man Volume 7. I am incredibly excited to review this volume. So let's get to the review. Alright, first things first. Welcome back to the channel, or hello, if this is my first video. Thanks for watching. Um, so Volume 6 of Chainsaw Man ended with Denji getting stood up at the coffee shop, but really not stood up because Makima killed Reese with the help of the Angel Devil. So that's where we left off to catch up. Spoilers, I guess. For if you're watching a review for Volume 7 and you're not at least caught up to Volume 6, what are you doing? What are you doing? Watching Volume 7 review, not reading Volume 6. So just a warning to you, since you've already been spoiled, I'm going straight into the spoilers to talk about this volume. So that's where we left off. This volume picks up kind of immediately afterwards. Like a little bit. But they don't really. Like, it's not like Denji finds out. You know? They're not answering that question. Actually, what the gist of this volume is, which is, I think they did it super. It's a setup volume for what I think are the main villains of the next little arc that Chainsaw Man is doing. So Chainsaw Man, I guess, is broadcast. It showed on TV, so I'm guessing it's broadcast on the news. I don't remember them specifically saying one way or the other, but I'm gonna say it's on the news. So it's kind of out now, and that's pretty much like the first chapter. And the rest of the chapters are basically introducing you to a group of hunters that are going to be hunting down Denji. Denji actually kind of gets pushed to the side in this volume, which I think works because the people that they introduce are awesome. They are awesome. Santa Claus? German Santa Claus? I don't know if you can tell that I'm very excited, but German Santa Claus is Demon, where he basically makes everybody his puppet. I think what it is like if he touches somebody, if they touch somebody, like everyone gets infected. Even Makima's like, if German Santa Claus uses his demons, we're screwed. Oh, it's so good. We'll get to it. It's so good. So we are basically introduced to four groups, really people, but there's the brothers. So I'm just going to say four groups of hunters that are hunting down Denji. You have the brothers who basically can change shape. They're basically like doppelgangers. Like they can take the form of anybody, and that brings up a really interesting point. So Power gets in her car and I guess doesn't realize gas breaks, so she just charges in and actually hits Denji and one of the brothers in the middle of the road, and she gets out like, "It's not my fault. It's not my fault. It's her car." And that's when the brother is killed and shifts back to his normal body, and that's how the society, the group that's kind of tasked with protecting Denji, finds out that they have been infiltrated. And they say it could be anybody. That's one of the things I think Chainsaw Man does really well, especially for like a Shonen Jump title, is use comedy in the story where it doesn't make it like hokey and cheesy. They have this comedic moment, but it actually propels the story forward where it reveals one of the brothers. And I think that Chainsaw Man has been and hopefully will continue to like blend comedy and action and all that together. And we also have, and I'm going to butcher this name, so please in the comments help me out on how to pronounce this name. It's like Quonks or Quonksy, Quanxi, and she has 4 or 5 demons around her, like her entourage, and some of them are. One of them just keeps saying Halloween, which is ironic because it's almost Halloween here. So, I mean, good marketing, maybe. But they're not the easiest to look at. Let's put it that way. Her power. So later on, towards the end of this volume, they're in like a mall or a confined space. She goes through the streets and goes up, and I guess she's like lightning fast. She is dicing people in half. It is some of the coolest action that Chainsaw Man has done. Like the panels And I think there's a 2-pager where it shows, because you can't really see her. She's like blurred out, but you can just see people getting sliced and like getting half their heads falling off. It's very well done, but it is she is taking no prisoners. She's so cool. Like she's man, I really liked her. So the one group that I feel like we don't super get to know well in this volume and kind of what they can do is Talca and his master. They're in a few panels and there's a little bit of backstory about them, but they don't get the full action treatment that I think Quonksy and German Santa Claus get, and the brothers. I think those three really get fleshed out, and I feel like this duo, there's more to come from them. And then we get to the one that even Makima herself was terrified of, and I think he is going to be an absolute problem coming up in the next volume. German Santa Claus. So his power is basically when he touches someone, and I believe that if they touch somebody else, they kind of become his puppets or his mannequins, and helps him deliver the presents to all the boys and girls. He is such a creepy old man. His character is so well written that even in the little bit, like I said, this volume is definitely setting up these groups to be a problem for Denji and his crew. Where he really shines is the last chapter. So he is taken over basically an entire street block, and it almost becomes a zombie film in a weird way. The last 2 chapters, because he touches this person and he basically infects this whole street block and kind of not lures them, but starts trapping them because there's so many, and there's just waves and waves and waves of people coming after him and chasing him. And basically, if they touch you, you turn into a puppet of his. Except if you're a demon. So Power and Denji are safe, which makes it very interesting. So you have the brothers, and they basically kill 3 people to infiltrate the group, and like I said, Power takes one out almost immediately. But you have Kurose in this group. I have a wild theory that I think that he's going to kind of join Denji in them. I don't know, I feel like his heart's not in it. I might have read too much into it, let me know if any of you guys kind of felt the same way, but I feel like his heart's not in it, and they're kind of setting him up to be a bad guy that turns good. But especially in this in this book, they're kind of all bad. There's not a Goku, you know. But yeah, I think they're setting him up for kind of a turn, maybe. What I really liked about this volume, now that I've kind of went over really what the volume was, I was going to go chapter by chapter, but I think for this volume it makes the most sense to really just go over the 4 groups that are going after Denji, because that's really what this volume is about. It's about Denji and his crew kind of buckling down and protecting him, and then these 4 groups of basically assassin or hunters going after him. So instead of going chapter by chapter, I was like, oh, let me just talk about the people that are going after him, because I think that's the most interesting. And I really think for a setup volume, which I absolutely think this is, what it does with introducing a pretty good, for 190 pages, introducing 10 different characters, they actually did a really good job, mostly about letting you get to know the hunters going after him. I mean, if you guys have made it 6 volumes into Chainsaw Man, you're going to read this 7th one. But I actually think in the long term, this is going to become one of my favorites, because it was less, there was awesome action, and I went over like the German Santa Claus and the Quonksy. Man, I really want to know how to pronounce that name. That does not sound right. You know how, like, when you say something and it comes out of your mouth, you're like, that's not right. I know that's not right. That's what that feels like. I hope you guys can help me with that. But there is really good action, but it's not for when we go from volume 6, which is all action. It's this big battle. It's Denji and Reese, and it's the culmination, the climax of that little story. For a let's set up the next arc that's coming. I think they do a fantastic job. And not only that, I think some of the conversations that the hunters or the assassins have with each other, it really does a lot to help us get to know them pretty quickly. Like I said, I mean, I feel like I know most of them in 190 pages, and that's pretty impressive. So yeah, to sum it all up, this is a setup volume. It's a fantastic setup volume. I think Chainsaw Man is just revving up. See what I did there? Revving up, like a chainsaw. Speaking of that, actually, I almost forgot a clue. One of the biggest clues that kind of changed everything. How did I forget about that? I'm an idiot. So, there's a conversation that the angel devil has with Aki about how devils can't remember hell. Basically, like how you can't remember your mother's womb. Literally, a sentence from it. Is that all the devils remember a sound. And that sound is the same sound that when Denji revs up his chainsaws. I didn't know if you could see that. It's goosebumps. If they die in hell, they come to Earth. If they die in Earth, they go to hell. It's a revolving circle. So, was Denji's devil, the chainsaw devil, the one that actually kills most, if not all, of the demons in hell? I mean, it opened the gate. I cannot believe I almost forgot that. So yeah, you learn a little tidbit in this volume that could mean it could open the future of what Denji's devil actually is. I think this volume is going to have a lot of nuggets for when we get later on in the volume. We're going to come back to this and be like, oh, that's what that meant. That's going to be us with this volume. And Chainsaw Man just keeps getting better and better and better. And I cannot wait to see what Volume 8 holds. I am chomping at the bit to read Volume 8. Too bad it comes out in like 2 months. So, but yeah, to sum it all up, great volume, great action, really good story progression for Chainsaw Man. And it will make you want to read Volume 8 immediately when you close the last page. You're going to be like, I wish I had Volume 8 right now. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this review and this video, and thank you for watching and watching me talk about this manga that I really, really, really enjoy. I appreciate you. And yeah, until next time.